listening to pause. We pause for a second or two. This is episode 132. Satellites, Wi-Fi, mRNA. We live in bold times. But only bold in a material way. We send up hundreds, if not thousands, of satellites orbiting our planet in different layers. Many of them orbiting in low layers close to our atmosphere. And they are orbiting in these dense patterns. So if we look at images of all the satellites, it looks like many strings of pearls covering our planet. It looks like our planet is looks like a sphere or a ball caught in a net, in a fine net of satellites. That's how it looks. So we are reaching far and wide with these satellites. Materially, technologically, we are very bold. We are reaching far. We are covering the whole of the surface of our planet with this net of satellites, thousands of satellites. So in practice it becomes like a material layer between us and space, between us and the stars. There's a layer in between now, these satellites. So the open night sky is less open now than it used to be before the satellites. We are reaching deep as well. We are reaching materially, technologically, deep inside ourselves. We are sending another kind of satellite, so to speak, into our bodies. We have this nanotechnology and this mRNA technology, where we construct artificial RNA, artificial genetic information, and putting it inside our bodies and putting it in orbit, so to speak, inside of us. So we are not only reaching far out into our atmosphere, outside our atmosphere, but we are also reaching deep inside of us and putting this artificial RNA inside our bodies, altering our bodies using this material technology, man-made technology. And then in everything in between. So we have the satellites on a macro level, if you will, and we have the mRNA technology, the nanotechnology, inside our bodies on the micro level, if you will. And then everything in between, the macro, the very big, and the micro, the very small, as much as possible is being connected using invisible waves, invisible information flowing in the air. And we can call that, for our intents and purposes, we can call that Wi-Fi, wireless internet, wireless communication between different technological entities. Today's episode is called Satellites, Wi-Fi, mRNA. And the point is to look at this trend where we, from the very large surrounding our planet with satellites, to the very small, the genetic information in our cells, in our bodies, and everything in between is being, in our time, boldly connected materially, technologically. The Polaroid for today's episode is universal skill creativity. And these times that we live in are materially extremely creative. The level of creativity needed in order to design all these inventions and all this infrastructure, macro, meso, and micro. The level of creativity needed is immense. Immense. And today's episode, the point of today's episode, is to put this creativity, this material creativity, to light and discuss it in the context of emotional creativity. All of this material creativity, be it satellites or mRNA or everything in between, all of this material creativity affects us emotionally. To look out into the night sky or look up at the night sky felt different before the satellites. It felt different. Our bodies, before mRNA technology is being put inside, feels different, felt different than it does after. Human relationships, before the internet, before the smartphones, felt different than after. So all this material creativity has emotional consequences. And the point of today's discussion is not to say anything about the desirability or not of this trend. That is not the point. The point is to put material creativity and emotional creativity together in the same breath and see what happens. That is the point of today's episode. What is emotional creativity in this time of ours that is so immensely materially creative? What is it to be emotionally creative now? When you look at the pause framework of emotional skills, there are 31 Polaroids to look into, and there are countless connections between them. There are millions and millions of connections between these 31 points, these 31 skills. Just like we can combine the 12 keys of a piano in endless ways, just as we can combine the pieces on a chessboard in endless ways, we can combine the emotional skills of the pause framework in endless ways. The emotional creativity is infinite, boundless. We can choose to do anything. So what then, when you look at it, feels relevant to do? You know that there are thousands of satellites orbiting your planet, your home. You know that mRNA can be put inside your body if you want it to. You know that millions and millions of gadgets and technological devices are connected to each other via the internet, via these invisible waves. What emotionally feels relevant to do creatively in that material context? What is worthwhile to do in such a time? So, when we look up at the night sky and we see the stars and we see the darkness, and then we also see a satellite passing by. We actually see them passing by now and then. Sometimes in a string of pearls, and sometimes a solitary satellite. How does that feel? What does that call out to us? What is our response to that? That's what it comes down to. What is our response to the stars, to darkness, and then now also a satellite passing by. What is our response, our emotionally creative response to that? Could be anything. Could be anything. We respond whatever we like. Could be anything. So from this satellite we see crossing the sky, the night sky, and all the way down to us and all the way inside our bodies, into our cells, into our DNA. There's also communication going on. There's also emotional creativity we can choose to express. If we put this mRNA technology inside our bodies, what do we want to say to that? Emotionally, what does it mean to put these artificial entities inside ourselves? To ourselves become the vessel of artificial beings, artificial tiny satellites. What is that? Often we feel like we have these vague feelings, very vague feelings, hard to put our finger on what is really going on. And that is not strange in times such as these, that in these times we can see a satellite passing us on the night sky, and we can have mRNA technology inside our bodies. We have this device in our pocket, this smartphone, which is connected to everything, or at least gives the illusion to be connected with everything, whatever connection is in a real sense. Often we have a vague feeling about what this means to us, what all this means to us. What does it mean to be me against the context of satellites, Wi-Fi, and mRNA? What is my response? What is my organic, genuine, personal response to that? And it is easy to become passive. It is easy to enter this a role of being like a victim or someone done unto. The satellites, the Wi-Fi, the nanotechnology is done unto me. There is nothing I can do about it. But that is not very interesting. It is more interesting to see it as a puzzle or a challenge, or just like someone speaking to us. Hey, here you have satellites, you have Wi-Fi, you have nanotechnology. What is your response? What is your emotionally creative response to that? And we can take some help. We can be started off by looking at the pause framework of emotional skills, and we can find different entryways into our own creativity. Perhaps we feel confused, so we go to our confused situation. Perhaps we feel worn out, and then we go there. Perhaps we feel like our long-term situation just feels vague and not very exciting, and then we go there, to name a few. Or we just pause for a second or two and just stay for a while with the vagueness in itself. Stay with our body, such as it is, such that it feels, and just feel our way into it. Take it as it is and just, what is going on here? What part of my body feels most relevant? What is my reaction to that? What do I want to do with that? What is my response to that? And there is no antagonistic relationship between the material and the emotional. It's more like that the immense material creativity of our time is an immense question being asked of us. And likewise, our answer might be immense, equally emotionally immense. And we start answering, we say something small, so to speak, and then we see where it takes us. That's it for today. Thank you.